Hey, family practicum 445 students. My name is Ashlyn, and this is my learning interaction video. So what I'm going to do here is just go through the chapters that we've read and kind of point out what I really liked and what stood out to me, and what I think is going to help me in life and my workshop. So, overall, the readings were great. I think they're not just going to help with the workshop, they're going to help with my everyday life, my callings in church. I'm teaching primary right now, and I think it's going to help. So I'll go ahead and just start. We'll start with chapter 4. So this story, or this chapter was mostly talking about stories. How stories can help the learner better understand a general idea. I think this is a great method to help your learners understand what you were trying to teach and help them connect things to what you're learning and what happens in real life. This method is very beneficial, and I know we've all been in a class where you just zone out because the teacher is not very interesting. Stories can make your class more interesting. Stories help the learner understand how a certain principle that is being taught and how it is being used in real life. And that's key, and that's what you want to get across when you're teaching. How is this going to affect this person's real life? Or when are you going to use this in real life? And I just think that's important. And stories could help get that across. Whether it's your own story, or you could see if your learners actually understand what you're teaching. You could have participation and see if they could come up with a story or something that's happened to them that connects with the principle you're trying to get across. I think that's a great way to help you, not only the person that's raising their hand and saying the story, but the people around them, the other students, because they could probably connect with the person who raised their hand and told the story. The most important thing to remember with stories is to make sure that it applies to your audience. You don't want to tell a 4-year-old or some crazy story that's not going to apply to them. You're going to want to make sure it goes with them. And you're going to make sure your audience is going to relate. So for my workshop that I will be doing with Jessica, we are doing marriage prep. And luckily, me and Jessica are both married, and we have some stories that we could tell that our students, our participants, can relate to. Hopefully, anyways, can relate to. And we hope to put that into our workshop and to help our workshop be a little bit more fun and involved. And so the next chapter was chapter 5. So I just want to ask you this question. What type of teachers were your favorite and why? I know for me, they were the ones who were animated and showed passion for their students and passion for what they were teaching. Those were my favorite teachers. And I'm sure you could tell me why if you write back to me on our discussion board. So part of that, from chapter 5, I really liked the formula to effective teaching. The formula is relevance, respect, and participation. So we'll go ahead and talk about relevance. This is important to remember because you want your audience to be engaged to what you're learning. If you asked your teacher why you needed to know this, or why is this relevant to you, or why will I ever need this in your everyday life? I know I have, and the teacher didn't even respond or didn't know what to say and came up with a dumb answer. And as a teacher, you're going to want to be ready to answer that question. Why does this relate to their lives? If it's not going to relate to their lives, they're probably going to check out right then and there. I know I have as a learner. And so this is important to know. The next principle is respect. you're going to want to respect your students, no matter what their view is, or if they're lazy, if they're just not the best student. You just need to respect them. You should respect everybody anyways. So respect is the second principle. I know when I felt like a teacher didn't respect me, I checked out a little bit in that class, and I wasn't willing to learn as much from that educator. So as an educator, it's very important that you respect your learner. Also, sometimes the learner can teach you, and you as a teacher become the learner. So I think that's important. So with respect, I think that's the best way, because if you respect them, they're going to respect you, and you could learn from them. So the third principle is participation. How many times have you learned something better than, or how many times have you learned something better from another student than from the teacher? I know I've learned multiple times better from a student because they've been able to relate it to me, or just made it become more real. And yeah, if you allow your learners to participate, they're giving the chance to remember things better. I know when I raise my hand, I'm going to remember what I said, and I'm going to remember what the teacher said. And I think participation just really adds a whole new level to the classroom setting and just learning. And I know for participation in my workshop with Jessica, I think, or we will be having a Q&A, and we're going to make sure our students or participants know that they are willing, or they are allowed to ask questions, raise their hand anytime they feel like they should. We want to be very open, and we also want to respect them and keep things relevant to them. So these three principles, I think, are very important to incorporate in any classroom and our workshop that we will be doing. So chapter 6 is basically, I'll just go over this real quick, the importance of media. I think media is a great tool for teaching, especially in teaching family life education, because there's so many powerful videos out there that really make things come to life. Like when you see family violence on a video, you're just like, oh my gosh, and you just want to become a better family educator, and things just become real to you. And so I think media is a great tool to teach effectively. Now, if you do share a video, I think it's very important that you give a background. If you show like a clip of a movie or something, because there's a lot of times where your learners can just get lost if you show that video. So just make sure you give a background. So chapter 7, it was just basically just being